Oh, we're on. Hey, welcome back.
If you want, I could do the Wayne's World. Like 5, 4, 3.
No, I'm not a professional.
Stop. You're not supposed to move your head when I do the two. Okay.
Okay. All right.
5, 4.
What up, everybody? We are here. We are back. We are in the producer Chris's studio.
That's right.
Crazy World Podcast live with Alex Iniguez. Oh my God, we're all in the room together.
And it feels so good.
Reunited, and it feels so good. Dude, I love this. I'm a little echoey though. No?
Sounds good. Sounds good to me.
Sounds good.
Oh, let's see. This one's turned down.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Maybe choke up.
I think I'm just not used to hearing myself.
Yeah, I think usually it's whenever we get together, whenever you guys get together.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I turned you up a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was going to help.
Turn me up.
Turn my headphones up. Oh, I can't hear anything now.
I turned it down too.
There we go.
How's, is that
Turn my shits up.
Yeah, can't hear nothing.
How's that?
Still can't hear nothing. Still can't hear
talking?
nothing. No, there it is.
Yes.
There it is.
Great.
This is our first time.
Is that good?
No, we're good.
Okay.
We're good.
All right.
We're good. We're back. We're here. We're live.
What you're hearing, people, is the birthing process of a podcast.
Yes.
That's what you're actually hearing.
Yes.
Welcome
We're supposed to hit record now. All right.
to our first episode.
Man, Comic-Con 2023. Thank you guys so much for getting me out here. You guys made sure I got out here.
Second annual gathering
This is
of
awesome.
the Juggalos. We are together.
I'm gonna have to fine you $50,000 for saying the word on that show because I cannot stand those people. There's lots of weird shit that producer Chris is okay with and into, but that is definitely not one of them.
And I've been driving with Chris now for a couple days, and he is into a lot of weird shit.
Yes,
So-
he is. It's awesome.
In fact, we got prepped before we came in here with, he goes, hey, I want to show you a video real quick.
Let's start with that. Holy shit.
With my smoky aviator style glasses and just relax. I want to show you some tape.
I want to show you some videos. Dude, Toxic Avenger? That's how you start the evening off. Yeah. He puts on a video. Just to give everybody context here, okay? He puts on a video, Toxic Avenger. He's putting in and trying to search for the video. He's trying not to give away what the video is. To the point where
YouTube won't let him have it either.
YouTube was like, no, dude, stop looking for this video.
I thought it was weird when I got like 4 notifications. Like, are you sure you want to watch this video? It's like, yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's about like some degenerates that run over a little kid on a bike on purpose and
finish the job.
And they showed it like somebody in Hollywood was like, yes,
Well,
let's write this, let's direct this, just put it on camera and send it out into the world.
first of all, it wasn't Hollywood. It was Lloyd Kaufman and Troma over in New Jersey. And he was doing everything like independently.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's like we're going for it, you know.
They went for it and they showed it, and
it birthed. I mean, when you talk about like the godfathers of like cinema sleaze, it's definitely like Ed Wood, Lloyd Kaufman. Who else do you got on there? Roger Corman, right?
yep.
There should be at least one more on there.
I would probably put John Carpenter in there before he officially got picked up by and started getting distributed by major studios, because like the first Walking Night of the Living Dead or whatever is definitely within that.
Well, that was George Romero.
Oh, George Romero. That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking of. George Romero. Actually, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
George Romero's in there.
But these guys are on like a different level of sleaze.
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Lloyd
They
Kaufman.
picked up the ball and ran with it.
Yeah. Lloyd Kaufman made a whole career out of. Is that too loud?
No,
Is that
that's
him?
perfect.
Yeah.
He made a whole career out of making these like really, really terrible movies, like Sergeant Kabuki Man and Shakespeare's Shitstorm, Poultrygeist, Frankenhooker.
Sounds like my type of movie. Yeah, man. I was talking to you guys. I was like, I don't know if I gotten soft in my old age, but that scene really bothered me. It pissed me off. I was like, fuck those guys.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. Toxie gets revenge on everyone.
I kind of want to see the revenge part of it.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to watch it just
What?
to get the revenge part of the movie.
I don't remember if it's not one or one of the other ones, but he like rips off a dude's arm and starts beating him with it and
Yes,
stuff.
deserved.
Yeah.
Deserved.
Whatever happens, deserved.
Deserved. Don't hold back on their killings either.
So, gentlemen, I have been behind a table for all 4 days of Comic-Con. And so I haven't gotten a chance to really walk the floor or see the sights and sounds of 2023 San Diego Comic-Con. Tell me a little bit about that. What's been going on?
It's just like last year. I will commend all the cosplayers. These guys go hard. I love it, and that alone is worth the trip. But yeah, it's just I love the environment. I love the energy, and we got into a panel today, producer Chris, that I didn't even know anything about. I didn't know I was gonna fall in love with this guy pretty much. How did you even know this was happening? Let's talk about that.
Well, I've been studying the program. Surprisingly, it came out like a week ago.
Yeah.
It seemed kind of late to me.
Well, the reason for that is because every other minute, if you went on Twitter, you kept saying canceled, canceled. So, folks, in case you don't know, right now Hollywood is going through a little bit of a hiccup. That hiccup began with the writers, and now it has brought in the actors. So now the writers and the actors are together, and Hollywood and that group are not seeing eye to eye in a really hardcore. Kind of don't know what it's going to be like once the dust settles away, and the aftermath of or the beginning of all that. One of the victims is San Diego Comic-Con. A lot of the talent is not able to show up and actually rep any of the things that are coming out currently. So much so that, for example, next week, Disney's Haunted Mansion movie comes out, and they weren't able to have any of the actors at the red carpet premiere at the park. Wow. So instead, they flew in cast members that from different parts of the world that work at Haunted Mansion. They had them walk the red carpet, and then they pulled out all of their villain actors and had them walk the red carpet because there's no talent from Hollywood to show up and actually rep the movie. So, yeah, Chris, what Chris is talking about, every time you looked, you would see, well, this panel is gone, this panel's gone, this panel's gone. So it's very late in the game. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And panels that you wouldn't necessarily see packed. People were just so used to like, I got to stand in line for something. So people were just like jamming in there, and then they'd sit there for like 10 minutes and be like, this is not what I expected. And they'd leave. So out of all the ones that I actually attempted to go to, only one of them got canceled, which is pretty cool. It was the Metalocalypse on that fake van thing that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, voice acting is covered kind of differently, but then I remembered he's a writer, so that was probably, his big thing. Yep. But David DeSmulchin, who is a pretty well-known character actor, he was in The Dark Knight, he's an Ant-Man, Prisoners, recently Boogeyman, right? Usually a lot of niche, creepy horror roles and stuff like that. His panel didn't get canceled. So I was like, oh, cool. I have heard him on many podcasts. I've heard him on Kevin Smith's podcast. I've heard him on the Bullet Brothers. I've heard him on interviews. He contributes to Fangoria. He's really involved on Shudder. He hosts the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards and characters. So I was like, this will be really fun because he's going to talk about his comic and working into movies. But of course, he couldn't talk about the movie stuff. Yeah. So that was something that became kind of interesting. He promoted an independent movie that he was recently in that we heard some pretty good reviews on Fat Man on Batman, and Kevin Smith saying it was really awesome.
And what a way to promote it, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, holy shit.
Oh, they said, like, there's a little disclaimer. AFTRA approved him to promote that movie because it was considered independent. So I wonder how many of the actors were like, hey, I want to talk about this. And they were like, thumbs down, you can't go. That's pretty interesting. But he came out in character as the late night host that he's playing in the movie.
Yep.
So they introduced him as a character. And he's like, whoa, I'm from 1977. But what's all this going on here? And then they were like, cool, we'll show you a clip from the movie. So in the clip from the movie, we see like a co-host who's getting a talking to with a hypnotist. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden he starts pulling worms out of his body. And there's like a head explosion, kind of like in Scanners, like a head explosion and stuff like that. And the guy who's
pretty gory. It's pretty detailed.
all
wow.
practical effects. The guy in front of us gets up, turns around and walks out. And we see the whole scene in its entirety, and then it goes black. And then after the scene, we see our host say, ladies and gentlemen, please ask children in the room to leave due to graphic content. Like they play the advisory after the scene. Yeah. It's awesome.
And then they went into the trailer of the movie. It was like they give you like a whole scene of the movie, and then they give you a disclaimer for the kids, and then give you a less than intense trailer than an actually opening scene. I was like, wow, all right. I was hooked immediately. I loved it. I was like, what is happening right now? I don't know what it is, but I want more of it. Yeah, and then David comes out and starts promoting, all this stuff, and he's not even just promoting that. He's like opening up about him and, and how things that he has dealt with, helped him get to where he is now. And I'm just like, dude, I love this guy. Like this guy, I love his vibe. And so, yeah, we ended up standing in line for an hour to get a picture and autograph.
Yeah, actually, I think when everything was done, it was about an hour.
Yeah, and it was totally worth it. The dude was chill. He's so humble. And I knew of his work, and I even let him know. Like, when I finally got to meet him, I told him, look, I knew of you. I became a big fan today after listening to you. I appreciate you. You're very, very awesome, dude. So David's legit.
Yeah. Apparently, I've been replaced.
Yeah.
Please go to Instagram, Crazy World, and you will see the replacement that producer Chris is talking about.
Yeah, it's kind of like in the 90s when like they killed off Jason Todd. Where it's like everyone vote in, is Chris getting replaced or not?
It'll never happen.
It was a good
You're
time.
irreplaceable.
There was 3 votes. He's out.
Irreplaceable.
Dope.
But yeah, so how's Comic-Con been with you in a professional level, though, Alex?
It's been crazy. People have been extremely generous. I have very, very fortunate. I know that she will never hear this, so it won't matter. But my neighbor last year was a little bit rough. My neighbors this year are incredible. I definitely would say check them out on Instagram. They do fantastic work. Harmony is on my right and Mark is on my left. I'm following them both. So if you go to Alex Iniguez art and just type in Mark, you'll see him pop up immediately. And Harmony is like impossible to miss because her name is Harmony. But yeah, they're fantastic. And the guests that have been coming up and like it always is a shocker to have like repeat people come back who enjoy your work. So, giant shout out to those people that have come back and have supported me. And then everybody new that has come that has either gotten a commission on the spot or, has picked up artwork. Like one of the things that I didn't do very much in the past was I used to participate in this thing called Inktober. So basically you try to kill yourself for a month by doing an ink paint or ink drawing every single day. And it is a pain because like after a week you start running out of ideas of what to do, and it's horror based, but like sometimes you just you have to do other things, so you don't have time or whatever. But I put in my time with Inktober, and so I have these little monster sketches, and this year people were just picking them up, and because I actually put them out there. So I decided, you know what, I'm not going to be embarrassed about this. it's not my best work. That's not what it's supposed to be. But they're like these little just nuggets of me trying to bust something out in 30, 40 minutes during lunch or whatever. And it's cool to see them go into people's houses. And people were like, oh, like Chris and I were talking about this because Chris did the same thing to my neighbor next door. But people were telling me like, oh, this is going in my office. This is going in my, so they're just like people were telling me where it's going to be placed. And that's really cool to know that those things are going, to people that, well, one of the guests came by, picked up a pretty big piece, and they're like, my house is being remodeled, but as soon as that wall's done, like this is going up because they own another piece of mine.
Right.
This is going right next to it. So
That's so awesome.
Yeah, it's been incredible, man.
Well deserved, man. Your skill level is like amazing. Well deserved, and it's so awesome to hear you doing well.
Part of I give it to my wife right now too, because part of the success of this year, I think a lot of it has to do with the pre-planning of how everything was going to look, how visually it was going to translate over to people, whether it was easy for people to see. And as telling Chris, like, I got a side-by-side photo of like last year and this year, and last year was like Skid Row low rent, it was not like visually. It just, I wasn't represented in the best way. And this year, I feel so much better about how everything got planned out. And so kids, definitely pre-plan how you're going to visually put your stuff out there. It makes a big difference, and it gives you peace of mind. Like, I came to the con much more peaceful about everything on that end of it. And then the cherry on top was I can cover all my stuff up at the end of the night and not have to move anything. And that was like, so, pre-planning works.
Pre-planning.
So. Gray's like, fuck that.
What is this pre-planning?
Pre-planning works. I do not follow that basis. And
oh no, I would say you do. When you pre-plan to eat 8 tacos, my friend, and you did it.
Okay.
You did it.
All right. Some context. All right. Here, everybody. All right. I'm gonna get shit for this for a while. My mama didn't raise no quitter, goddamn. All right. So we just left our favorite taco shop. We introduced Alex to our
my new favorite taco.
Yes.
Yeah, we brought him in the cult.
We brought him in the cult.
100%.
Tacos Roberto in San Diego.
What is Al Pastor? There's no way. Like, oh, Kenji, this is for you, Al Pastor.
Al Pastor.
There's no way they're not making that with drugs, kids.
Yes, it's so addictive.
It's absurd.
And whenever I am in San Diego, I will stop there. That's my goal. Stop there and bring some back home.
In fact, after he's done with this podcast.
So we went today, and I overbid. Like, again, I wanted Alex to experience a lot of it, so I bought a little extra for him, but I was hoping he would help me out more, but he also had his own, plus Chris gave him some, so I'm like, again, my mama didn't raise no quitter. So this body doesn't happen overnight. All right.
To be honest, to be completely transparent with you guys,
yes.
If I had completely fucked my face up and my jaw and been all jacked up, my regular order is 2 molitas and at least 4 tacos.
Yeah.
So I'm not I'm pretty on par, because he had 1 molita and 6 tacos. Yeah. I would have had 4 tacos and 2 molitas, and that's our regular order.
Which, by the way, we can't skip over this. Can we just say right now how happy we are? We are listening to producer Chris again.
Yes.
We can hear his sultry voice.
Yes.
We got him back. From this moment forward, obviously time and schedule willing, we are going to get Grazy World back on track to a semi-schedule, and it's just one of my favorite things. I look forward to when you guys come through. I have a small rotation of pods that I listen to. You guys are on that rotation. It is not a big rotation. It's awesome.
Thank you.
I'm excited.
We're definitely going to be getting back into this.
That's what I get for selling my voice to a sea witch.
That's right. But we beat that bitch and we got it back.
I got legs. I got a prince. And a thingamabob. I got 20.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm kind of sleepy and sluggish because, and and here's the deal. I like you said, I'm usually okay with eating that much when it comes to those tacos, but for some reason I was starving. We stood in line for an hour for these tacos.
Your body's in shock because you walked like 7 miles today. So that's your body's in shock.
Yeah.
Like,
Are we healthy or not? I mean, that's what my body's. What's going on with you, dude? Are we healthy or not? You're fucking killing me here.
Okay, Sleepy and Sluggish is the perfect segue to Mission Impossible. Dead Reckoning. Producer Chris, tell us what you did see.
Well, I saw the first 2 hours.
Yes.
And then after 2 hours, it was like hot rotation where it's like 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off, 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off. Oh, they're still doing that? Cool. Wow, this is pretty sick. Oh, hey, awesome. But I will have to say, I was walking a lot and a lot of movement with like very little sleep all week.
Yes.
And it all kind of came to a head last night when we went to go see Mission Impossible.
Now, my favorite thing about that whole thing is when we were texting back and forth and producer Chris was putting in the work, looking for times at different places, literally checking out, like comparing different movie theaters, you know, trying to get that sweet spot. And Gray's like, let's do it at 9:45. Yeah. This is like a 3-hour movie, basically.
A 3-hour movie. Because initially our plan was to do the 4D, which we've never done 4D. So I was like,
Four dicks? No, just kidding.
4 dicks. But, you know, Chris made a good point. Like, you know, by the time the movie's over, it's 1 a.m.
By the time the movie's over, none of us are getting out
none
of
of
the
us are
seat.
getting out of the seat. So I was like, all right, fuck it.
Three middle-aged men who just spent like an entire day at a comic convention.
Yeah.
Like,
No, we wouldn't survive. So, yeah. And then we ended up going to the fucking wrong theater.
Yeah, so Gray and I are like having this heart-to-heart, and we're like really just like invested in each other and what's going on. And we get to AMC, we get there with plenty of time, we find parking, we're like, we did it. Yeah. We're adults.
Yes.
and we're like, where's Chris? You didn't even know this part of the drama. We didn't get a chance to talk to you. Yeah. And like I'm looking at Graham like, this motherfucker's late. He's never late. What's going on? What's happening? We're like, I wish I could track him. Where is he? And so then we get this, or at least I get this weird text like something im home. It was like almost in another language. I'm like, I don't understand what this is. And then Chris says, I missed my spot. I missed my turn. Almost there. And so then, you know, like he parks and we're just waiting.
Yeah, we're just looking in like,
we're underground at an AMC and he gives us a call and we're like, where are you? He goes, you guys are at the wrong place. We're like, motherfucker.
Yeah. And even with all of that, we still made it on time.
Yeah. It was crazy.
I don't know how we did that. So
now, go
ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. I want to start out with when I'm on my pod. My gauge is sombreros. 5 sombreros is highest. You know, 1 sombrero is obviously not good. Mm-hmm. For me, this was definitely a 5 sombrero movie.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, folks, there's definitely absurdity in this movie. There's definitely like, you know, if it's on paper, you're like, come on. But the way that this movie's crafted, the way that it's thought out, to me, I didn't push up against anything. I loved it from start to finish. There was a moment in this movie that I was dying. I think I might have been the only person laughing.
No, we both were laughing.
Maybe Gray and I were filling up the entire place like laughing. But there's this Fiat scene in the movie that was hilarious.
I mean, it's a car chase, and you don't expect a Mission Impossible movie car chase to be funny.
I expected. Like, that's what I expected.
This shit was fucking hilarious, and it was still good action.
Oh, so good.
And I'm like, dude, I love everything that's happening right now. And you know, we talked offline. Haley Atwell, holy smokes!
That girl was having so much fun in this movie.
Yes, she was.
Every time that sly smile, and she knows what she's doing. She's like playing to the audience. Mm-hmm. She's like, I'm smiling in this way that is seducing you.
Yes.
I'm making you like me. Yeah. I'm using all of my skills as an actor. You're gonna fall in love with me. You're gonna root for me.
Check.
You're
Check.
gonna fall in love with me. I'm gonna seduce you, and here we go. And does it? And then on top of that, they do this magic trick where you believe immediately that Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise, actually does care about her.
Yeah.
But there's not enough time to develop the character to make you really feel that way. So it is a fucking amazing magic trick that you're like, okay, dude, like this guy, and really the whole team, like
the whole team.
You know, the way that they craft this entire movie, it's an old school way of sleight of hand magic trick of like, we're gonna get you invested because we actually have other things to do.
Yeah.
We can't spend time in character development because we've got all this action that we want to throw your way. So here's how we're gonna do it. And it's just pepper, pop, 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 and like it's seasoning. I loved it.
I loved it.
Without any spoilers or anything like that, but it's like the whole movie runs its course, and it's like, wow, that was awesome. And it's like, cool, that was a preview. Next one is like the actual movie. This was your appetizer.
Yeah.
Like it was the appetizer plate. Like
And
you get a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
That's the only problem I had with the movie, actually, because I left like, no, dude, I want to finish this now. I need more right now, and so that's my only negative to it.
I have no negative to it. I have no problem. In fact, I don't know if you were awake for this, Chris, but did you see what happened with the character that plays the girl that plays Mantis in Guardians of the Galaxy? I think what's her name in real life? Plo.
Palm Commenteef, something like that.
So were you able to see what happened with her? Like not at the first end, but the second end.
That's all.
Yeah. So like I know that she's coming back for the next one. You know, which is awesome. Yeah. Well, we're sorry, folks. This is going to be spoiled. It just is. But I like that character, even though she was like
she barely said anything, but you still were like sick.
Yeah, I mean, just again used very, very well. Like this is a master class in how to construct a movie that you have to move along. You have a bunch of characters that you got to juggle. I mean. Honestly, the last time that I felt it was done this well were with the Avengers movies, the Endgame and Infinity War. Yeah, like you got so many characters you got to juggle and you got to give some time to and some love to, and they pulled it off. And in this one, I feel the same way. Like everybody got a moment to shine.
All right, since we're talking spoilers, everybody who's listening, spoiler or Mission Impossible. All right, so turn it off if you don't want to hear it.
It's spoilers for me. I'm going to step out of the room because I slept through like 30 minutes of the movie.
But now that we got that out of the way, I do have I understand why he did it, but Rebecca Ferguson, like that hurt me. It hurt my heart, man. Like no, not my boo.
100%.
And you know, I get that. You know, especially with this being supposedly the last two, at least for a while before the reboot. They need to have sacrifice.
They need to have stakes.
They need to have stakes.
Yeah.
But it's like, no.
Yeah.
But then I thought about it. I was like, well, would I want Luther to go? Would I want Simon Pegg to go? No. I don't want any of them to go. I'm invested in all these characters. I've been invested since the beginning.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that one hurt.
Yeah.
And I was pissed off, dude. I was like, fuck that guy. Who the hell is this guy?
But it was also really well done in that she wasn't a victim.
Right.
She like went out on her shield. She went out fighting and went out for a purpose. Yeah. Which I really loved that whole thing. Like you're right. Like as soon as that fight began, I thought, okay, it's gonna happen. But the best storytelling is you don't know exactly how it's going to happen.
Right.
Even if you know something's coming, you don't know how it's going to come, and then boom, it happens. And you're like, I feel the weight of that.
Yep.
I love that character. Don't want that character to go.
Yep.
It makes perfect sense to bring in that. That's the vehicle that they used to bring in Haley's character.
Yep.
You know, and fold her into the team. And I will tell you right now. 2023, whatever the date is, July, whatever. If they were to make Haley Atwell the next Mission Impossible lead, like if she took over Tom Cruise's spot, I wouldn't be mad at that.
I wouldn't be mad
at
at
all.
it. However, I think Jeremy Renner, I think he had a good spot.
Well, he
a
did,
good
but
chance.
he's not coming back, and now he's like Peg Leg
He's
Pete.
like,
So
yeah, he's,
you know,
I just, a little off topic, but like when he got introduced to it, I thought he was going to be taking it over. Same thing with the Jason Bourne series,
right?
I was like, dude, Jeremy Renner is the guy, and then they just seemed like a wasted talent that they didn't continue with him. So. But Haley Atwell definitely held her own.
Yeah.
And very perfect.
Yeah.
And she's on my radar now. I know everybody, you guys hear that and you're like, well, how are she's not on your radar? I'm like, she was all right. But now, like, I saw her, I'm like, holy shit, where have you been all my life?
That's like these tacos you guys were talking about. I'm like, I mean, they're just tacos. And then I go and I'm like, oh, these are tacos.
Yeah.
Baby.
Yeah, so she's an Al Pastor taco. For real.
It's like with the Al Pastor, it's always the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like everyone you take, it's always all like, yeah, dude, get the Al Pastor. And they're all like, no, I'm more of a chicken, or it's all like, nah, dude, just get the Al Pastor. So it's like that old SNL skit where it's all like, oh yeah, I'll take a gyro cheeseburger. And it's like, how about a BLT? Yeah, cheeseburger. Because it's just
dude, it's like, you go there and it's a 2-hour line for just the Al Pastor, and then everything else is like flowing through. It's like, you gotta understand, there's something there, brother.
Yeah, cheeseburger.
Yeah.
So what we're saying is Haley Atwell is
a my Al Pastor taco now.
Delicious as a Mexican Al Pastor taco.
And then we also did some hypotheticals on the sequel that's coming out, and I love the one where you came up with that Tom is not going to make it, and I 100% agree that he I think that's the way that's going to end, because the emphasis on this first one was my life, well, your life before mine. That's what Tom always keeps saying in that one. So I think that's going to come to a head in this last one. And
they did it in this movie in a way that a lot of movies actually don't do it right. Or for example, I know you guys haven't been watching Secret Invasion.
No.
One of the problems with Secret Invasion is they keep hammering you every single episode about the trauma that Nick Fury experienced when he had the blip happen. But it's not done in a good, subtle way that's organic. It's just like it's just right at the top. Like, hey man, you're not the same person when you blipped out. Hey, you're not the same person when you blipped out. And in this movie, in Mission Impossible, you get that moment of like my life before yours, and then you also get the voiceover from the guy, the handler guy, and he's like, hey, you think you've saved this person's life, but you've only extended their time, and so like the movie's pushing you towards the idea that Ethan Hunt is a problem for everybody in his life, but Ethan Hunt might be the solution for all of these people as well. If he sacrifices himself, they're all freed up from the burden that he has to carry. So it's interesting. Like they're playing 4D chess. In the way that they're setting things up, and you were awake for the train part. So I was telling Gray, the movie immediately received my forgiveness in one implausible moment. Because it's another sleight of hand trick. He jumps off that crazy, that scene that everybody's seen online, and he's talking to
Benji.
Yeah, he's talking to Benji, Simon Pegg.
Yeah,
and so he's trying to make his way to the train, and then the movie pivots, and now you're in the train, and now you're dealing with Haley trying to get away, and that's like a good, 7 minutes of time.
Yeah.
You just forget that Tom is out there trying to get into the train. So when he appears, he just smashes through the window and slams into the dude that was going to kill her. Now, that whole scenario is improbable to the max. Like, it doesn't work on paper because you're like, come on, dude. There's no way somebody can time that that knows that person's going to kill it. But when you see it on film, Not only is it beautiful, he knocks that out, and then the parachute pulls him back and
Yeah,
hits the other dude.
hits the other guy.
You're like,
and then it sets up for a whole nother scene.
Yeah.
Of fucking like holy shit! It's
Yeah.
like it's boom, 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 keep going.
so it's that I can't. I'm a broken record. I love the craftsmanship, the care, And there was a story. Did we talk about this before? That Paramount with Top Gun 2. They were asking Tom Cruise for the movie because apparently he had and he just kept going, oh, it's not ready yet, it's not ready yet, it's not ready yet. That motherfucker was very specific about when he was going to give it to them because he knew he wanted a theatrical release, and obviously it paid off.
It paid off
$2 billion for a movie about jets. What?
Yep.
But that guy just knows what he's doing.
He does. And let's talk about the plot of the Mission Impossible, though. This is a kind of a big deal.
Oh, it's very relevant
It's
to today.
very relevant, and the whole AI issue.
Yeah.
And,
So again, spoilers.
spoilers. But, let's keep it real here, guys. James Cameron has been warning us about this shit since 1980, all right?
He's all, I told you.
I told you so, You know what I mean? Have you seen any AI movie ever? Matrix, fucking.
I think the only one that has a
iRobot.
semi happy ending, but still not a happy ending, is the actual movie AI by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, actually, that was a sad ass.
It still ends bad for
It
humanity.
still ends bad for humanity, and I feel bad for the little boy, Haley Joel Osment. Man,
Yeah.
I felt bad for that robot.
Well, I
But
think the best part about Mission Impossible and them having AI as the main villain is that even with that, pretty much everyone in the movie was all like, I don't know what this means.
Yeah,
Yeah, no joke. Well, what are we looking at here? Total domination. How? Don't really know, but it's total domination.
It's gonna happen, and I think that's where we're at right now. It's kind of scary, and after we upload this, we're gonna use some AI to doctor it up. You know what I mean? It's
Exactly.
if I go back to school, I'm definitely using AI to help me out with my home. But it's at the same time, we really shouldn't be fucking with this shit because it's only a matter of time before this thing wakes up and it's no, fuck you guys. You guys suck. And we're gonna see what happens.
The best thing for you would be for you to not be here anymore.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it was interesting that whenever this movie was actually written and the idea started forming, realistically, the whole ChatGPT and all that other stuff, it's been in development for a long time, but it actually hit the scene super hard, really, really fast.
Yes.
We went from nobody understanding or knowing or talking about, your grandmother not talking about AI, nothing, to we are in the thick of it right now. We are so much in the thick of it that, again, Hollywood right now is in a fight because that's one of the things on the table. The studios are saying, we would love to scan your body and your likeness, and we would love to use it in perpetuity and not pay you for it. We would love to create scripts based. The heck was that?
That's my pocket.
Oh.
That's how sensitive it
Yeah,
is.
we'd love to create scripts based off of old work and not pay you for it, and they're like, no, you can't do that. That's not good for business. It's not good for humanity. It's not good for anything. And in this regard, I think they're right. I have a different take on AI. I don't think AI is ready. It's ever going to be ready. I don't think it's ever going to become conscious. I don't think it's going to become like a separate entity that is going to wake up all of a sudden. But my take is, I think we're feeding this algorithm all the best and all the worst parts of humanity without the morality, without the wisdom, without the biological connection to be. One of the things about human beings and separates us from everything else is, you will go into a burning building to save a stranger. And maybe you can say that about a dog. But almost 99.9% of the time, you can't say that about a dog if it's a stranger. A dog might go into a burning building to save its master, but a human being will make the choice to go against all of their instincts, to run into a burning building and grab a stranger that they don't know and pull them out simply because of the humanity of it. And your biology says don't do that. Your biology says, screw that person, they're on their own, and you can override it. AI doesn't have any kind of connection to any kind of biology. It's just the best and the worst parts. Yeah. So it'll make a decision based on the logic that it understands that was created by humans, not a separate logic that is outside of, the confines of human creation. So, if there's a plot of land that can feed 100,000 people, and there's 5,000 people on that plot of land, and those people won't leave, the logical thing would be to wipe them out so we can use that land to feed this 100,000 people over here. And that's cold logic that it can conclusion it can come to that it might not do if it had morality and wisdom and biology attached to it. Yeah, but something just becoming conscious all of a sudden, like, we don't even understand how the human brain works.
No,
so
we don't understand consciousness ourselves, but
no. And then there are a lot of things to be worried about and be afraid of, for sure. And Skynet is really a valid fear, because Skynet has no function other than to reach its ultimate objective, which is, if we get rid of all of humanity, then the rest of nature is fine. But whatever the cost is for that, well, it's worth paying, because eventually we'll get to a place where there's no humanity, but then what? And in the meantime, these tools can circumvent humans, and it can take over. Like, one of the things that I've heard of is potentially lawyers are screwed, because lawyers spend all their day, writing proposals and writing decisions based on a law that already exists, and ChatGPT might be able to do that within minutes. And so why would you pay a lawyer hours, when their rate is like $100 an hour, when you can have this computer do the same, or this algorithm do the same thing in a couple of minutes? That is real displacement. Yeah. The danger, I think, is the shifting of economy. That's a reality. So
it's scary. It's scary regardless.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if ChatGPT doesn't have a soul, and neither do lawyers.
No. That's why they can replace lawyers.
Yes. Yes. I don't know. I always thought, like, AI, a good AI would be. You ever seen the movie Interstellar?
Yeah.
TARS. That's an awesome AI. I'm okay with that AI. You can regulate the percentage of, like, how much interaction you want.
Right.
Or
from
like Kit.
Yeah.
From Knight Rider.
Kit. Perfect.
That sounds great, Michael.
Yeah.
Same thing with Star Trek. Computer.
Yeah. Computer.
Yeah. The bigger issue is, which nation gets to the magic box first? Is it China? Is it the Middle East? Is it North Korea? Like, who? And that's what this movie is actually addressing.
Yep.
The MacGuffin in this movie is that, like, there is this concentrated superpower thing. Who gets to it first? Because whoever gets to it first has to, gets to manage the rest of the planet.
Yep.
And although it's not, we're not going to get a version in this reality of this all-knowing, all-seeing, conscious thing, we are going to get to the point where any idea, any thought, any combination, any recipe, anything that you can think of, you're going to be able to feed it into this thing. And because it has access to billions of points of human knowledge, it's going to correctly be able to distill all that down to the correct answer. So, countries that previously we said you can't have nuclear, and then they're like, well, we don't have the technology to develop nuclear anyway, because we would need assistance from these other nations to do that. Well, if you've got a magic box that can tell you circumvent that and get around it, and like, hey, this is how you develop plutonium, this is how you enrich this, all bets are off.
Yeah.
Because a tiny country can have nuclear arsenals and a big country can have, and so everybody now has a gun pointed at everybody else's head. And who pulls the trigger first? That's the problem with humans is we're very apt to want to pull the trigger and ask questions later. So the bigger part of AI or the danger that I see is that what happens when you get unlimited power? I mean, they say it all the time, right? It's a cliche, like power corrupts, right? And absolute power corrupts absolutely. So is it better that every single individual is walking around with ultimate power in their pocket in the form of their phone? Or is it better for a country to have it distilled into their government and they're the only ones that possess it? I'll tell you right now that if it's between those two things, I'd rather every single human being on the planet has ultimate power in their pocket. Because I would trust more individuals than I do governments.
Yeah.
Personally. So, but yeah, the movie is addressing that idea, and it does it in a really fun way, and at the same time, you know, in a very entertaining way. But if you stop and you think about it, you're like, man, I don't want that.
Like, no, you don't. No. You know, but I will stick around for the AI robots. You know,
your overlords.
Yeah, I'm okay with the AI robots that I have in mind, and once those come out, humanity definitely will change. Balls in our court now, women.
Emphasis on balls.
Yeah.
You the bad man.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. But yeah, that's so that's Mission Impossible, guys. I highly recommend going and check that out. I do want to talk about another movie that we are not going to agree on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I want to have that discussion here. The Flash. I mean, this is Comic-Con weekend. We got to talk about comic book movie.
All right. Yeah.
All right. So The Flash, I hear you saw it.
Yeah.
And you were not a fan.
Nah.
What's going on?
But I went in with a bias. I mean,
yeah.
You know, I talked about it before. I can't get over the hump of how I feel about Ezra Miller.
Okay. So that's understandable.
So that's a problem. You know, CGI aside in that movie, and there was a lot of bad CGI. I was telling Chris one of the things that like really disturbed me, and it's like almost like an echo leftover thing from the Snyderverse. There's a scene in the movie where like one Barry saving the other Barry.
Yeah.
Like I think it's the older Barry saving the younger Barry, so he has a little bit more experience, and a Kryptonian's about to kill that Barry. And he just comes up and he just like he vibrates his hand through the Kryptonian's chest and just kills him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have a problem with that. I've had a problem for a long, long time with like specific heroes killing. Like, and this is like my bias, but Captain America killing somebody is pretty normal to me.
Okay.
Because that fool went through World War II, and he's just like, you know, that's what he does. Like, but he does it reluctantly. But for me, Batman, the way I grew up with Batman, and the way I grew up with, you know, the Flash, like they don't kill. They find alternatives to, you know, if they find another way. And so just movies taking liberties like that, it's part of my fuddy-duddiness, you know. I also, you know, the cameo stuff wasn't really it didn't really hit for me. What did hit for me was Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton was just, I mean, slipped right back in.
Yeah.
Like he'd always been there. And I would tell you right now, I would pay all the money to see a solo Michael Keaton Batman movie. Yeah. At this age right now, I don't want him to be Batman Beyond. I don't like if he's gonna pass the mantle. If that were to happen in the movie, I would want it to be at the very, 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 very end after he spent time kicking ass throughout the entire movie. Yeah. Then if he passes the baton to Terry, cool with that. But yeah,
I think Michael Keaton and I also love Supergirl. I thought those two really made that movie.
I just didn't think Supergirl got enough. There wasn't enough time to develop her, and so like I didn't get a chance to start caring about her.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, when they killed them, it was shocking. But then when they kept killing them, I was like, you got into this well too many times. I need permanence,
Yeah.
And like, so the whole reset thing, yeah, that's cool. But I almost felt like they could have done the reset thing at different, like you do it so it's broken up. Movies are broken up into 3 parts. So you do it in part 1, and then he resets it in part 2. But then at the end of part 2, you kill them again, and instead of just
Right.
it coming like immediately afterwards. The final like reveal with the timeline switching over a little bit, I gotta admit, it was cool to see Clooney. It was like it was, especially
Didn't see that coming.
no, and especially after years and years. I mean, he would talk about it openly, like fuck that movie.
He fucked that movie up. He will always admit that. And I did not see that coming. I did not see, of all the Batmans, Clooney coming up.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that movie surprisingly. I think because I don't know, I wasn't expecting to enjoy it, especially with all the reviews that are not. It's not doing too well as far as box office.
Oh,
or
it's
reviews.
done. It's done.
And I'm
box office wise, it was an awful. Yeah, they didn't even make their money back. They didn't even come close to making their money back because of how much money they dumped into it to get it to the place that it is now. Because different cooks came into that kitchen through like. I didn't even know that the movie was in production for as long as it was, for as many years as it was. So it literally went through 3 different regimes before it landed with James Gunn. Like James Gunn and Safran are the final regime that have to finish this thing and bring it in. So I feel bad for those dudes because they inherited that, and it's just like Warner Brothers, like. I can only imagine Warner Brothers was probably like, we can't keep putting more money into this to get it right. Like, you guys are the 3rd team that's on this. You just got to deliver what you got and like try to edit this the best way you can. And that's a rough start.
Yeah, it's rough. Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. I think producer Chris enjoyed it.
Oh, he loved
Yeah. I had fun, like, after the movie.
Yeah,
I was like
fun.
a 5-year-old bouncing around, just like,
Yeah.
oh my God, And it was a bummer that, Ezra Miller has the problems that they have because there was parts in the movie where it was like real charming to see that, like, Barry Allen interact with other characters and stuff. And it's like, yeah, well, this might be the last time we see this person in a movie for a very long time or even ever. Right? Robert Downey Jr. bounced back, but who knows, right?
Yeah.
But I think definitely because I came up in the height of Batmania, so Michael Keaton just did it for me.
Yeah.
Well, since we're on this subject, we might as well talk about all the news that has come out for Superman Legacy, the new movie that's coming out. Like, it has turned into a Justice League movie. Like, legit. The amount of characters that are going to be introduced. Metamorph, which I would, if you told me, in a million years that he would be introduced in a Superman movie, I'd be like, what? No way. Like, between him, a Green Lantern, and not even the Green Lantern that we're like familiar with, Hal Jordan.
Well, just saying, it's Nathan Fillion in a James Gunn movie, so is he going to kill him in like 10 minutes?
I don't think so. I don't think so. He's coming in as Guy Gardner. I mean, if anything, he is the groundwork for the tie-in Max show of the Green Lantern Max show. So he's introducing Guy Gardner, Metamorph. What are some of the other characters? I mean, besides Lex Luthor is coming in, and what the heck are they called? At least members of the team of the, oh my God. They're from Wildstorm, the Authority. So at least some of the members of the Authority are coming into this movie. Like, this movie's going to end up being stacked with people. It's pretty wild. I would not have expected that in a million years. And then on top of that, Superman, it's not another origin story. He starts his life out at the Daily Bugle. So I'm really fascinated to see where they go with all this and how they start building, the universe out.
Yeah.
So
No, I totally agree. I'm down. Sorry, guys. I know you hear a lot of movement. I just need to stretch. my blood needs to flow before I have a heart attack from all those tacos.
those tacos will get you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm cautiously excited about this movie. I think that first trailer is going to be very interesting. I think a lot of people will be against it personally, but I've had too many good times with James Gunn to bet against him. A really surprise hit for me was Peacemaker. I was not expecting to like that at all. And it was one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun show.
Not only is it fun, but man, it like hits you right here, like when you find out his dysfunction with his dad and all this stuff. That I'm like, oof, like it's an excellent show. So, in James Gunn, I trust for now. We'll see how it goes, but
I'm open to it. So we'll see.
I watch everything, so.
Yeah, you're gonna watch Barbie.
Yeah, producer Chris going to Barbie.
It just looks so weird.
That's the only thing I can describe it. It just looks weird.
I can't wait to hear your review.
I want to hear your review too.
I can't wait to hear you guys talk about it.
I'm not gonna listen to anybody else's review until I hear yours.
Yeah, but I also was the same guy who was like championing Toxic Avenger earlier tonight. It's like, it's just so weird.
That is fucking true. Which you just threw me for a fucking loop on that one. Holy shit. No. But what else we got? I feel like we got a lot to catch up on.
I feel like a lot of the catching up has been off mic, but
yeah, I think
we've
right.
been going for like an hour. So
has it been already?
Yeah.
That's what you're back saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But no, it is good to hear that you guys have had a good con. It is a different con for sure.
Yes.
The movie studios are not here. The activations are a lot different. A lot of things got canceled left and right. For my part, there's been a lot of people on the floor. There's been more activity in Artist Alley than any other time that I can remember. And I do remember some years where it was pretty packed, but one of the things that is different this year that we from other years is there used to be specific like superstar people in Artist Alley, and they would form lines. And while that's happening now, it's not like it used to be. It feels like, for lack of a better word, the love feels more spread out. Like there's more people getting eyeballs on them. There's more people getting business. There's more people So I don't know. It feels pretty awesome, and I already turned in my application for next year.
Hell yeah!
So I'm back in again.
For the most part, everyone that I've interacted with at like different booths and stuff, they've all seemed pretty happy with how the con has gone, and walking around through like the private sellers has been like pretty good and pretty spacious, and it seems like a big chunk of the void that Hall H left. All those people they're so used to just camping out to try and get a glimpse of something. It seems like they shifted attention to the con exclusives. So the lines for like the cap lines and everyone crowding all seems to be in the middle of the con where, there's all these exclusives and stuff. But then towards the afternoon, once they're kind of done with tickets or lines or whatever for the day, the rest of the floor is pretty open to just walk around, and you're not getting shoulder to shoulder with people, but there's still a lot of traffic and a lot of people are buying stuff.
Yeah. It's pretty. And to be fair, there are still like Paramount showed up. They have. I kind of mix my terms up. I don't think they have like an activation, but they have.
Well, they have like the Star Wars photo op. There's a lot of photo ops this year.
Yeah.
A lot of things are geared towards photo ops.
Yeah, like they have the Camp Snoopy celebration thing, and then they have Paramount. The Paramount Lodge has something, and So yeah, there's still plenty of things going on. There's still pop-ups that are happening outside. So it's definitely, and I mean, I don't know what, I couldn't put a number on how many people are, but it feels like the old days, you know, as far as like the amount of people that are visiting, you know, and are part of the show. And most of the people that I saw that came to my table that I was talking to, yeah, they had passes for all the days. So yeah, so it's pretty.
Yeah, I only got 2 days here, but this was an awesome 2 days. It was an awesome time just being with you guys. So I definitely appreciate you.
Dude, always good to see you, man. It's so good to see you live.
I love it every year, and we need to do more, and we will do more. Offline, I definitely love our talks that we do and our private lives. So I definitely want to say I appreciate both of you guys so much for getting me through a lot of shit. So I want to say that online. You know, hey, these two guys are the real ones right here. I love you guys so much. So thank you.
Hey, everything to Producer Chris, man. Producer Chris is the bridge.
Yeah.
We don't get to form this bridge without Producer Chris. So shout out to you, my brother.
Aw. That's when I dropped like a Lost Boys line. Like, never get old, never tire. You're one of us, Michael.
Yeah. Well, yeah, what else we got? Bedtime?
Yeah.
I think it's bedtime for us.
Yeah. I think all three of us are going to pull a Producer Chris in Mission Impossible in the next like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think we're done. Yeah. Thank you so much, Alex, Producer Chris. Thank you guys for
have a great time in Mexico.
Oh yeah, we're going on vacation, me and the fam. So,
yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
don't
we just need some R&R.
Yes. Don't let little Tank, get you.
Yeah, I know.
Watch your back.
Much love to you guys. It's a crazy world, and we're just living in it. Am I right?
100%.
All right.